Hello YouTubers, Novscorvus here and welcome to episode 7 of The Road to Metroid Switch. For anyone that doesn't know, this is just a series where we talk about all things related to production of a new Metroid game for Nintendo Switch. So, E3 2017 came, and my god, what an event it was. There were so many surprises this year. Overall, a lot of the events, a lot of presentations were lacking certain games. But Bethesda and Nintendo were really the ones that stuck out for me. I say Bethesda because they delivered a game I was waiting for a long time. That was The Evil Within 2. Because I loved the first one. I loved the whole horror concept behind that game. And so I'm definitely going to be getting that game. But of course, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about what Nintendo had to show us this year. So Nintendo really surprised a lot of people. In a way that almost every major gaming YouTuber was talking about this. There was rumors going around a few weeks ago, nearly 2 months ago, that there was going to be 2 Metroid games at E3. And it seemed very unlikely that there would be. But funny enough, at this E3, what happened was we got 2 Metroid games. I still can't believe that I'm saying that, and I can't believe that happened. We got 2 Metroid games at E3 2017. I wasn't even expecting one. I was kind of on the fence about it. I was hoping for it and I was getting excited for it, but there was that thought at the back of my mind where I was like, there probably won't be a Metroid game. So what happened was, I have my reactions on YouTube for anyone that wants to go check them out, but I was watching the presentation anyway, and we went on YouTube and I saw Metroid Samus Returns, and this game kind of, obviously I jumped out of my chair. There was a new Metroid game that I was so excited. So I went to watch it, and I was disappointed at first because I didn't like the graphic look of it. It just looked really bad, and just the fighting style was a lot like Other M. They incorporated some of the Other M stuff, which I thought was pretty cool, but it took me a while to realize that this was a Metroid 2 remake, which disappointed me even more because we were expecting Metroid Prime 4 from Retro. So that game disappointed me, and I was expecting Metroid Prime 4, and then I really like this afterwards. I was like, I can't believe this happened. So my friend Connor decided to look up Metroid Prime 4 just out of curiosity, and I was completely mind blown. It took me about a few seconds to actually process what I saw. A whole list of just the one teaser that Nintendo put out. And so we watched it and I went insane. Not on the video, but afterwards. I was just jumping out in the room. I was going insane. Metroid Prime 4. The game that was rumored for over 10 years is finally a reality. It was a short teaser. It was only about 40 seconds long. It just zoomed out from space. There was a Metroid logo. Then there was 4. And then they photoshopped Metroid Prime there. And then it says now in development for Nintendo Switch. So, yeah, the rumors were 2. We got 2 Metroid games. One came out for Nintendo 3DS. It's a Metroid 2 remake called Metroid Samus Returns. And one for Nintendo Switch, and that's Metroid Prime 4. So I'll talk about Metroid Samus Returns first. It's coming out for Nintendo 3DS on September the 15th of this year, 2017. Nintendo did a whole 40-minute gameplay of it on YouTube. It's a remake of the original Metroid 2. I don't know what they changed apart from graphics and stuff, but I imagine it's got to do with Metroid Prime 4 because there's some stuff they put out about Metroid Prime 4 that suggests there's going to be another trilogy. So I imagine they needed to change Metroid 2 to fit in with that, which makes me to assume that they're going to remake Super Metroid as well. I don't think they'll do Other M because that's too big. They might just make that non-canon or whatever. I think they might remake Metroid Fusion as well. But it's for Metroid Prime 4 anyway. I'll get on to that because that's the one we want to talk about. That is Metroid Switch. What I've heard is that surprisingly this is not developed by Retro Studios. So this has completely blew my mind. Metroid Samus Returns is not developed by Climax Studios, and Metroid Prime 4 is not developed by Retro Studios, which is really strange because all these rumors and stuff I've been talking about in the previous 6 episodes are all irrelevant to Metroid Prime 4, since Retro aren't developing Metroid Prime 4. So it's kind of funny that all those rumors were fake, yet we still got 2 Metroid games. So, but anyway, what we do know about Metroid Prime 4, we don't know about the developer, but as far as I know, Kensuke Tanabe is directing. And all we got about story-wise, we didn't really get anything, but all we know about it is Metroid Prime 4 will go back to the first-person shooter origins of the original Metroid Prime and will start off a new storyline. So I made a video a while back when Federation Force came out, and I was discussing that maybe we might see a new Metroid Prime trilogy, and this kind of somewhat makes that true in a way. I think we could see Metroid Prime 4, Metroid Prime 5, and Metroid Prime 6, and who knows what else. Metroid Prime 4 just started development, so that means they literally just started it, which makes sense because Retro couldn't have been, if you think about it, Retro couldn't have been developing Metroid Prime 4 because Federation Force just came out last year. And since Federation Force ties into Prime 4 with like Psylocke and all that, they would have to have stopped and scrapped the whole thing and start all over again. So it makes more sense that they're only starting now after Federation Force came out. I'm sorry, I couldn't think what I was saying there. Sorry, I couldn't think of what to say there. But so I think that since Metro Prime Federation Force is what builds up to Metro Prime 4, Nintendo needed to. They just started working on Metro Prime 4. I'm sure we'll find out over the next coming months who's developing that. But I'm pretty sure since it just started development that it might come out in 2019. I'm going to say at the earliest, or I'm not entirely sure, but that's what I'm going for. Which means we could see Metro games every year now. We could get Samus Returns this year. We could get a Super Metroid remake next year. Maybe a Fusion in 2020 or something, depending when Metro Prime 4 comes out. But yeah, that's really all we know about it. We haven't gotten a lot of information. It was just that one teaser that everyone went insane over. And I just want to take time just to appreciate this because no one expected a Metroid. We all hoped for it, but no one, being honest, no one expected it. Like, because Nintendo neglected the series for such a while, but it's just like before with Super Metroid. There was an 8-year gap, and then there was Fusion and Prime, and then there was that whole what you could call the golden age of Metroid, where there was like a lot of the most famous Metroid games were coming out. And I think we've kind of gone into something like that now, where after Other M, the gap between Other M and Federation Force, now we're going to get games every year. Which means I'm hoping that after they do Prime 4, Prime 6, we could get another drought, which I'm hoping won't be the case, but it could be possible, but who knows. So, in a way I was right, because in the previous episode I said that they could go anywhere. They could do a Prime 4, they could do a Dread. I think I mentioned about a remake, or I said they could do a prequel. And they did both Prime 4 and a Metroid 2 remake. So the more I think about it, the more I realize that Samus Returns is necessary, and you know I'm gonna get it either way because I'm delighted to get 2 Metroid games. It was something I wasn't expecting. Yeah, I'm sorry if I'm rambling on here. I just didn't plan this out because I'm still in shock. A few days after it, that 2 Metroid games came out. This only happened once before, which makes it funny because this is no longer a trilogy anymore. It's now Metroid Prime quadrilogy. So that's gonna be weird to think. Like, if they make another like trilogy set, what are they gonna call it? Metroid Prime Trilogy 2. And if they do another trilogy, will that be Prime Trilogy 3? And then they'll have a trilogy of trilogies. I don't know, it's just a stupid joke I'm thinking of. So I'm thinking Psylocke will be the main point of Metroid Prime 4, because I'm pretty sure they're done with Phase-On. At the end of Metroid Prime 3, Aurora Unit 242 says in the credits, with the death of planet Phase, Samus Aran's arduous fight against Phase-On has ended. In Federation Force, they say Phase and Phase-On are gone, so they once again point out that Phase-On is gone. So it wouldn't really make much sense for them to go back to that, unless that's exactly what they're doing. Some people think they are, judging by the logo in the teaser was four and it was like bluish green, kind of black. People are like, oh, Dark Samus is coming back, or it means Psylocke. I don't think it really means anything. I think they just put that together just before the event, like. But that also, the fact that they only had a teaser for that also proves that the game just started development, because they've no footage to show, whereas they had loads of footage to show us of Samus Returns. So I'm thinking like Metroid Prime 4 is going to be about like Psylocke maybe creating a Metroid army or something. Then Samus Returns is going to be the result of like whatever happens in Prime 4, 5 or 6, whatever. I'm just going to say Prime 4 for now. I'll talk about another trilogy some other time, but whatever happens in Prime 4 is going to lead on to the eradication of the Metroids in Samus Returns. And then maybe Psylocke might make a cameo in Samus Returns. We don't know. I have no idea. I can't really predict that at this stage. It's too early to predict. Maybe when the game comes out, I might do prediction of when I'm playing through the game, but I don't know at the moment. If they do a Super Metroid remake, he might make a cameo in that. I think he might definitely make a cameo in that one. As for a Fusion remake, I could see that happening in some way, maybe a reference to him. And then if they do a Fusion remake, that could lead on to Metroid Dread then. So it's funny how I said don't get your hopes up in the last episode about a Metroid game coming to E3, and then we got two of them, and then I was like, well, the Metroid series is on a rise again. So, and I just gotta quickly point out, I love that Metroid amiibo that they put out. The one I like the one of Samus more than the actual Metroid one, but it just looks really cool. It's a must have, but it's quite expensive. So, yeah. I think I'm gonna leave it for there because I'm not sure what else to say, because I'm just rambling on here, and I'm sorry for that, but I just can't really plan it out fully because my mind is just, there's so many things going through my mind about this, because I never in a million years thought about this. Because with Federation Force, with the announcement, I remember when I saw the E3, I was watching and I was like, okay, is this a Metroid game? Then when I saw the title, I freaked out. I was like, oh yes, another Metroid game. And I'm one of those people that loved Federation Force. To me, it was a really great game. I didn't really see anything wrong with it. But to see a 2D 3DS game and a presumably first person main game for Nintendo Switch, it's like everything, all the predictions, all the theories over the past few years since the Wii U, it's all paid off now. Um, but yeah, comment below what you think the story of Metro Prime 4 will revolve around. Do you think there'll be phase on? Do you think they'll do something completely new? Um, Also, one thing I want to point out is, do you think the Federation Force will appear in it? Because for those who haven't played the game, the Federation Force is a small group of the Galactic Federation that had like mech suits, kind of like in Halo, and they have their own armor and stuff, and they're sent in like elite missions and stuff. I think they would have to put them in Metroid Prime 4, or at least a reference or something, because they can't just make them disappear. So maybe that's another reason why they remade Metroid 2, so who knows. In the next episode, I'm going to do a more in-depth talk about this, because again, I apologize again, my mind's just racing like 100 miles an hour. I can't really think straight, so once again, I apologize. I'm recording at this space again, by the way, instead of that, because I was planning to record there, but then it was really sunny earlier, so the lighting wasn't really great, so I was like, I'll do it here again. So yeah, I'm guessing I'll be doing Metroid Switch videos more often for you guys. I didn't think we were getting a Metroid game. I was beginning to think, after I saw Samus Returns, I was like, this series is pointless. I made Metroid Switch, yet we got a 3DS game. So I was like, I gotta rename it, or I gotta start again. And funny enough, before the event, I was thinking, there won't be another 3DS game, at least not this year, because Federation Force came out last year. A year, not even a year. It's not enough time for them to have another game out, or at least another game to show. But I was completely wrong. They must have had a second unit or something developing this. But, or they must have been developing it ever since this or before Federation Force, I don't really know. But yeah, my impressions on it at the moment, I'm delighted we've got two Metroid games. I'm getting Samus Returns. I'll try and get in the opening day, but I'll probably wait for it. I'll wait a couple of days for the prices to go down. Metro Prime 4, I think, is coming in 2019. I'm going to say it's coming out in 2019 until we get some sort of official confirmation or something that says otherwise. One last thing worth pointing out is that AM2R, another Metroid 2 remake, which was a fan game that was made in development for the past few years, that was cancelled recently, and people were wondering why, and it seems like this is the reason why. Because of Samus Returns, Nintendo were developing a Metroid 2 remake, so it makes sense that they cancelled this fan one. Because it's funny, when I saw Samus Returns, I was thinking, this is just like, AM2R just came to my mind. I was like, this is why AM2R was put down, because of Samus Returns. Although, to be honest, I do prefer AM2R over Samus Returns. So. Yeah, I'm going to end it there. I've been rambling on for too long, and just, again, I apologize. Since the channel from now on, my videos, I'll be focusing on Samus Returns and Prime 4. Let me know, should I continue talking about Samus Returns as part of this series, or should I do another series completely talking about that? Like, since it's called The Road to Metroid Switch and Samus Returns is for 3DS, should I like continue talking about it with this? Do you guys mind, or should I even bother since it's out in a few months? Like, should I bother making a different series for it? Or just let me know what your opinion on that is. I'm going to do one more video as well where I'll just discuss my final thoughts on Federation Force. I think we're ready to push this game aside and move on, since we've got Samus Returns and Prime 4 to talk about, so I need to push this game aside. And I never really did a review of it, so although I did record one, but that ran out halfway through, so I scrapped that. So I'm gonna give my final thoughts on that in another video. See, I'm gonna leave it for there again. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and see you in the next video. Nova Scores out.